Hello everyone, this is Michael from Tile, and today I want to bring to you one of the solutions that I have been working on to bring LED underlighting to the Stagetop 3D printed tabletop. LED underlighting would allow you to be able to create diverse lighting effects underneath your play surface. So the first thing to accomplish that I have done is I have printed a play tile in PLA Meta, and that play tile is white. So the white play tile will allow for light to pass through from underneath through the play tile surface and be shown and exposed from the top view. The LED component that I'm using, I found these on Amazon, and this is just a small circle LED ring. Very easy to wire. It only has 3 contact points that you basically solder, ground, 5 voltage, and signal. And what I've done is I've taken purchased with this, and I will link all of these in the comments. This is a simple controller which basically just drives the color and pattern in with which your LEDs will function. And it's got a USB hookup. I have it just plugged into a simple phone adapter so that I can provide power to it. And it's got 3 buttons, and I'll show you how those work in a little bit. It's then daisy chained into an amplifier. So this is also sold on Amazon. I will also link it in the comments. This amplifier allows for you to plug multiple LED rings into that amplifier, and it will drive each one of them. Now I got a 5-pack of these for $23. You'll be able to see the price in the link description. But this is like a sub $30 setup, maybe a little bit more, maybe closer to $40 by the time you buy the driver, the amplifier, and the set or the pack of LED rings. You can also drive this with an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi. That is going to be a little bit more intensive in with which way you configure the software. I wanted just a very simple solution that would drive the LED controllers. So it looks like this when it's turned on. And essentially the driver is pushing a pattern into it. You can change the color of the pattern with just a button press. You can cycle through a couple of different color options with this controller. You can also control speed and with which the kind of circular pattern goes. And I think you can control the kind of pattern or the kind of way that it moves around. So you've got like pattern, speed is in the middle, and then you have color and color variation. So as you can see on camera, and what's actually really cool is because of the rectilinear pattern that I used when I printed this tile, it gives a pixelated effect. It's relatively hard to pick up on camera. When you look at it in person, you'll be able to see kind of like the individual, almost pixelated effect with the LEDs as they go. So this part was very simple as far as just creating 4 LED rings that pulse and change color. You just buy the 3 components, you plug them in, you will take one of these adapters. These are BTF 3-pin connectors which plug into the amplifier or the separator. And then I used a bit of network cord to increase the lengths, but basically you'll just solder these 3 points onto the 3 correct spots on your LED ring. And the amplifier basically has your guide, which will show you where to plug in the ground, the green and the red, the +5 voltage and the signal line. So you just follow that. It's very simple to solder right onto the surface. If you want to secure the connection, you can add a dab of hot glue onto those surfaces, but that will give you a LED controller, LED circle lightings. Now the size that I chose fits relatively elegantly within the natural diameter of the bottom of a frame piece. So all I've done to secure these, in the most simplest of terms, I do want to design a bracket, but in order to secure these, all I've done is taken hot glue and basically just put it in place, held it in place, and ran a hot glue gun around in order to secure the LEDs in place. I've thought about utilizing a little bit of aluminum foil on the back end of this, but the thing is that you would have to insulate the contact points on your solder connections in order to make sure that if you did put any aluminum foil or reflective lighting, reflective material here that is conductive, you wouldn't short anything out or mess with anything. So once you've wired everything up, which is very, very, very simple to wire, and hot glued these LEDs into place, you will be able to route the cables underneath. I have just a bit here. This material right here is spiral wrap, and I used to get it from a website called directron.com. I don't think that they are open. I believe you can find this on eBay if you just search up 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch spiral wrap. I'll try to find a product. It can be hard to find from time to time. You can use black tape and just wrap it around the wires. You can use just the half split wire cabling or wire. You can use wire loom, anything to the effect. You don't have to, but I'd like to keep the wires kind of pushed and kept clean and together. So once you've done that, then you have a plate tile surface that has this kind of RGB circular pattern thing going on. And now this looks cool in its own effect, but for purposes, it's just an effect. Now, if you were to put, let's imagine that we selected the color red. If you were to utilize translucent plate tiles, possibly with like a lava effect or some sort of hellscape effect for the purposes of Dungeons and Dragons, that would actually illuminate through the translucent pieces that you put on top. That is one solution to kind of, diffuse or to create a kind of dynamic effect. So the other thing that I've done, and I've just printed up some tests here, is created kind of like a battle map image. This is of a whirlpool, and I just used I'm using an AI generator to kind of create these surfaces. Now I will make a series. I've already worked on them, and I'm going to release them on my Patreon, and you can find the link for my Patreon in the video description. And that will have, eventually, when I finish them all, it'll have a few different battle maps that are meant to be sized across the entirety of the Stagetop table. So with one sheet of printed computer paper, you can see very much the distinct zones of lighting pushed through. Now, if I corrected this image and did some photoshopping skills and had 3 individual whirlpools instead of one larger whirlpool, I think the effect would be more natural. I have found that 2 sheets of paper kind of stacked on top of each other creates a little bit of a more diffused glow that doesn't look so much like a pattern. There's a few other things that I want to try with this to try to get the best ultimate example. And I think the one, the best effect is going to be to utilize something like graphics that are specifically created for these zones: lava pools, whirlpools, well locations, anything to that extent. Now, this is just standard computer paper. Of course, you could choose materials like cellophane, thin sheets of cellophane, frosted plexiglass. You could utilize trans tint or marquee paper, the same paper that they use for like arcade marquees, which allow light that have opaque images that allow light to pass through. So this is just kind of the experiment or the test or the implementation I've been doing. And I just want to give it to you guys to see if you would be interested in experimenting with this, bringing this to to try to implement some LED lightings. Now, I do have some other ideas and some other products that I'm going to test, and I will give you that information as I implement them. I'm still printing parts and testing things out and wiring some things up, and I think that would be interesting. So I hope that you found this helpful or interesting. Please subscribe, like, and ring that bell. And if you want to support my work and my efforts to bring more creative ideas to you, please consider to subscribe to my Patreon. Thank you.